Do-de-do. Oh, hello, hello, everybody, and happy Sunday. Hello. Hang on. Let's see. Chat rules are to please be over the age of 17 and please be kind to one another. And there we go. Oh, hello, hello, and welcome to CLAldridgeArt. It must be a coloring Sunday. My name is Christine Aldridge, and I am CLAldridgeArt. Hello, Rain. How are you, my dear Rain Robin? Make sure that I get it right. How is everybody today? And happy Sunday. Oops. Figure out which tea I'm drinking and which one I'm leaving for staying warm. Uh-oh. That's good. That's a good sign. That means there's somebody in my Etsy shop. So how is everybody today? And you know, as I figured this is where we sort of started. I don't like to leave Jane F. Hankins hanging, so I thought we would continue on, but with a twist. We are this show going to be adding accents with our pencils. This particular brand is one of my favorite budget brands. It's the Deli Star Joy. It's been sold under a lot of different names, but it is a gorgeous set of pencils that are, I don't know, around $26, right around in there. And they're oil-based pencils. They act very much like a poly chromos, and they come in a whole lot of gorgeous colors. So we're going to be doing some accent or some enhancement work over our inkdents with these pencils, and I'll show you how easy that is to do. I love the fact that it comes with this plastic sheet, which of course I've doubled for a inkdents palette and a watercolor palette and everything else. Hello, Lulu. Hello, Barb. Hello, Kathy. Hello, everybody. And talking or not talking, it doesn't matter which. And let's talk about this week. This week has been one successful score for America all the way across. At the beginning of 2016, I said that our Constitution would be put through its paces under this administration. It has performed like a champ, like I knew it would, and I could not be prouder of the country that I live in right now, from a governmental standpoint, as far as how it's supposed to work. Now, whether the guys who are actually working it are worth their salt or not remains to be seen. But at any rate, but the system works. The system works. Let's see if we can't get better representatives somewhere. I'm sure they're out there. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about that. I also am going to say that I saw, for those of you who might follow me on Facebook, I did post what I consider to be the most amazing leadership video that I've seen in a long time. And that is the Prime Minister or the Premier of Manitoba, Canada. made a speech yesterday about how he's the Grinch who's stealing Christmas, but that it has to be done. And he was honest, and I believed every word he said. You know, I think he does feel awful about telling people to stay home on Christmas. You know, don't visit, don't do it, don't risk your loved ones. Um, I, I agree with him, and I hope that a lot of people stay safe because it's dangerous out there. It really is right now. And so that's it for me on the emotion side. Let's go to something fun. Like my friend Sue's latest book, I do want to point it out because it is such beautiful art. It is. Let me kill that autofocus thingy so that it's not constantly throbbing in and out on you. And maybe we'll move it down so we get a little nicer of a function. And just to give an idea, Sue puts a lot of time and research into her books and the origination of some of the songs of praise for the Christian faith. And those are in here along with the drawings that they've inspired her to make. And it's just an absolutely gorgeous book. This is the third in the series. It will be the last in this particular series because frankly, she's run out of hymns that she wants to do. I think this is particularly beautiful, and it is just spectacular colored. I've seen a lot of people color this, and in jewel tones or in pastels, it doesn't matter. It is absolutely gorgeous, and then she's also got sort of the cute, whimsical, little girl type things. Now, if you are not if this is not the kind of book that you enjoy, that's great. But maybe you have somebody in your life who would, an older person or a person of faith that I always say a person whose faith is greater than mine. Then this would be a perfect gift for them. There will be a link to this book. I will add it in. I forgot to grab it before I started today, but at any rate, it is absolutely beautiful. Once again, it is volume 3 and the third in the series. Okay, so we got that. Oh, on the good news. And as a public service, have you ever gotten like an email that says you're eligible to sign up for this class action lawsuit type thing? Well, I was a former Wells Fargo bank customer. And as you know, they had some difficulties with the legal system as far as opening a lot of different accounts for people. Over the years, they had opened 2 or 3 accounts that were questionable. I mean, I sort of said yes because I was in a hurry to do something else. And the next thing I know, I've got a net only use credit card with $100 balance on it, and that I didn't need, and they're trying to charge me fees on it, and all of this. Well, they settled this class action lawsuit. I said, well, what the heck, I'll go ahead and sign on. And then they sent out the settlement notice, and it said something about the average person will get $5.15, and I thought, well, is this really worth it to send in the thing? But I It was online, so I went in and I sent it in. Darned if they didn't send a check. Now it looked like junk mail. This is how it comes, right? It looks for all the world like junk mail. And I very nearly threw it out. $138.88. So, as a cautionary tale, if you get and you are eligible, take it. That was 2 years ago that I did that. 2 years. And that check showed up today. Or yesterday, actually. And I don't have to tell you, I am still out of coffee. And so that check is the most handy thing I have ever seen. I about cried because I had to pay the registration on my car or they were going to tow it again. So, so anyway, it just goes on and on. Isn't it March or isn't it May yet when my first Social Security check shows up? And I can stop all this balderall. I mean, not this balderall, but all the worrying balderall. Anyway, I do want to continue on with this. For those of you who know me, I talk about this stuff. It's like, I'm a real human being that screwed up. Man, I screwed up my retirement bad. I really did. I did the two smart things I did were pay off my house and pay off my car. So I have no debt, but I've got tons of bills, and I've been robbing Peter to pay Paul for a long time. Anyway, okay, the delis are absolutely beautiful. Now I thought about the other set, which is so wonderful, and it really is the Sergeant Arts. And I had seen this on Sammy's channel, Color and Chat with Sammy, and I saw her put them through their paces, and I was so impressed that I put a set on my wish list. Somebody was kind enough to send it to me, and I tried these. They are, in fact, along with my delis, but remember, they're two different pencils. This is a wax-based pencil. That's an oil-based pencil, right? So basically Prismacolor polychromos type thing. And but I'm not as familiar with this set yet, and I need a dark brown, and there isn't a dark enough brown in here, so that's why I've decided to go with my delis, because I know there's a dark brown in here that I can use. Isn't that wonderful? I mean, you could have knocked me over with a feather last night because first off, I have one of those, sort of large, it's about the size of this book, mailboxes, right? So the first thing is, it's been in there since November because it's been glued. Imagine a mailbox that size, and it's been glued sort of down here in the bottom of it, wrapped up against the edge. And so I didn't even know it was in there. So all I can say is that the Graces wanted me to find it. And I thought, what is that thing? I keep feeling that down there. But, it's usually one of those junk mail card things. So, like I said, I just nearly threw it away. Okay, and so what I'd like to do is show you enhancing the colors with your pencils, and hopefully a little bit of a background, maybe up in here or somewhere, and sort of go from there. Oh, there's one of my other favorite ladies, Sherry the Posh Paper Lady. Whoops, sorry. I watch a ton of stuff. Oh, today's channel shout out, and then we'll get to visiting with all of you. As a recommend, I got I was watching feel good videos the other day, and I got this recommend about East Idaho. Now I thought, okay, well, all I really know about Idaho is that it's extremely conservative, and they have a lot of militias there, but it's very, very liberal in the Boise, Idaho area. But I knew nothing about East Idaho. And I think East Idaho is the end of it that is right there with Montana, right where it sort of slopes down, and it's next to Montana. Anyway, so it was a Secret Santa thing, and it was just so touching. Anyway, I ended up kind of getting addicted to this channel, and so I started watching it. Apparently, they've been doing this one person, probably a rancher, possibly but somebody with a whole lot of money, gets no tax write-off from it because it's gifts. It's not, it's not donations. It's gifts. So there's no tax write-off. But the first year he gave away $100,000. The second year he gave away $250,000. The third year he gave away $500,000. This year, which is this is the fifth year, and the next year he gave away $500,000. This year he's giving more, and that's all it says. But today's video that posted was, oh my gosh, young woman just diagnosed with a brain tumor, father trying to care for her and their special needs child and 2 other children that they have. All their cars are broken down. And so Secret Santa shows up with a $10,000 check and a new car. And I am telling you what, it never gets old. It just never gets old. Watching that channel, I know this type of thing occurs all over the country, and we give a whole lot of grief to the wealthy, to the 1%ers, but we don't know what they do behind the scenes. We don't know. That's just it. We have no idea because it's usually not made public. This is made public because, of course, so that's not to say that their methods of gaining that wealth, when they do it corruptly, are good. I mean, I'm not saying that at all. But the bottom line is that some of these businessmen that, that may live in our towns or whatever, maybe they've done really well in the stock market or, whatever, because we don't know. But I guess what I'm saying is don't try to resist the urge to judge before you understand. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I guess. Does that make any sense at all? Okay. So now I've got and these are all actually swatched out, but I think I mentioned this before. I used the wrong paper when I swatch this set. And so all the swatches look very pastel, but they're not really pastel. So this swatch chart on this set is a little bit uh, deceiving. I prefer actually to go ahead because this set is almost perfectly matched. And another thing that I love about it, it is almost perfectly matched to its outer shell. So when I use this set, that's another reason why I love it, is because I don't really have to spend a whole lot of time consulting the book. So you can see, you can smooth out some of your colors just a little bit and just sort of brighten them up. Because one of my pet peeves, I love my also color correct if you weren't putting something in, if you didn't put it in quite right. One of my pet peeves about Inktense is that sometimes when it dries, it gets dull. And I like to have things that are a little, not super shiny, but glowing, I guess, is the word that I want. That glow with a little bit of inner color. All right, now, with all of that said, hello, color me a pink monkey. And I just love that name. And of course, hello, Melinda, and hello, Jill, and hello, Louise. How are you, my dear? Love the lime colored jello. And of course, I had read the comments, which is why I was able to guess the lime colored jello. Because you had already said that that's what you were going to do with that. Okay. Anyway, on and on. You never know me. I'm likely to cover 9,000 subjects in a day. Kim, hello. Uh, and yeah, it was once again. I have just sort of become positively addicted to Nate Eaton and his crew. And I mean, sometimes I started the first video I watched was this woman who was totally suspicious. She was like, "Who are you people, and why are you? Why is there a television camera pointed at me?" And she almost wouldn't come out of her house. Initially, she had refused to allow them to air the video uh, until she called her kids, and they said, "No, it's real, Mom. It's absolutely real. We promise." All right, let's see if I can get you down here so that you can see how this works. Not that you have to guess. I mean, most of you have some experience with this type thing, so you know how these work. But once again, I have a tendency. I'm what I call a stroke colorist. So I'm always coloring with little strokes as opposed to, say, circles. It depends, obviously. If there are little areas that need little circles, then, then I will do that. But I just like, I hear Dee Dee in my head all the time. It's the contrast. It's the contrast. You've got to make the contrast. You've got to deepen those colors. It's not done yet. And I hear Lori, same thing over at Color My World. I can hear her. Uh, you know, If it doesn't feel like, if it feels like it's too light or like it's too flat, it just isn't done yet. So, all right, so this is the darker brown. So I can also use that in areas that I might have missed. Just to enhance those little details and give it some depth. And some shadow. So you press sort of harder under there and then sort of feather it out to make a nice shadow there. And the differences are subtle, but to my eye, they are absolutely there. Now I can also, with a more sort of oaky brown, this one is 164. I can maybe darken up. This is more of a bark brown, sort of darken up some of these side edges over here. Doesn't have to be much, but, and you don't want to do it on both sides, just on the dark side of the tree, the side that would be away from your light. And it just adds a nice little bit of, once again, just sort of enhances that shadow. And you can work as long or as briefly as you want to on a coloring project. There are, it does not require hours or months or days or weeks of work on one picture unless that's what you want, So in my particular case, for this, we're doing it for demonstration purposes. But normally what'll happen on something like this is I'll just leave it sit and I'll come back to it and then I'll add a little bit and then I'll maybe put it away again and I'll come back to it and I'll add a little bit more until finally I get it to a point where I'm happy with it and I'm ready to call it done. All right, so those are those colors. Let's find a nice bright like goldenrod. Let's try this one. See if this is too dark. Oh no, that's good. So that's a gold right there. And you can see it takes very little pencil to work out and sort of smooth out those colors. Because you've got all that Inktense underneath it. And so all this does is just sort of brighten up excuse me, brighten it up. Oh, wait, who's internet site? Wait, not familiar with the pink monkey? Oh, you are certainly welcome, Kim. No, no, you know what? Uh, sorry. I think her name is Jess. I'm going to guess that Color Me a Pink Monkey is named Jess. I could be wrong. Okay. Okay. And she's your best friend. Oh, well, thank you, Kim, for bringing your best friend. And anyway, okay. So what's going on with all of you? I'm just gonna hush now, and hopefully everybody uh, is doing okay. And well, maybe I won't hush up, but you know what I mean. I'll, I'll, I'll leave room to answer questions. If you do have any direct questions for me, if you could put it in caps, it's just much easier for me to pick out because I'll be looking. I look up at the screen and if I see nothing but little stuff, I assume you're all talking to each other. I go back and read that stuff later, but during the live stream, it's easier if you just say it. You just shout it at me. For those of us who watch Curiosity Inc., Alex bought another hoarder house. Well, he didn't buy the house; he bought the contents. So it'll be quite interesting to see the treasure that he finds in there. He's already found 2 Hudson Bay blankets, which are apparently like $300 or $400 a piece. Although I can't imagine anything about a blanket that would make it worth that much money, but okay. But if that's what somebody's willing to pay for it, more power to them. When we getting a new book from me? That was your thought. All right, guys, let's talk about that. All right, let's talk about that. Absolutely. All right. The answer to your question is I don't know. As soon as I am able to pull myself together enough to draw something. Right now, what has happened to me is that if I'm not doing this for you right here during the week, or right here on Sundays, I am a mess. I am an absolute mess. It has to do with what I opened with, that I simply cannot believe. I simply cannot believe that there are people in this country that are so suspicious that they cannot believe facts. I just I can't I cannot wrap my head around it. And so my go-to position is to sleep. It's depression. It's denial in a certain sense. You know, it's the same reason why I can't watch reality TV, because I cannot watch people be stupid. I cannot watch people be stupid. I've never been able to do it. It makes me physically uncomfortable. It makes me ill, and because it makes me afraid. Is really what it is. It makes me afraid that this is a future of humankind, that we are going to descend into this, back into this anarchy and this, we're going to forget how to live together as civilized human beings, and we're going to, go back to knocking each other over the head, to take somebody's wife or house or land, or, we're going to point guns at each other, and we're going to, we're going to have another civil war, and we're going to do this, that, and the other thing. It literally takes everything I have to not give in, I have to hold on. There's, I know the things that I can do individually, and I do them. I write to my Congress people. I write to my my senators. I keep in touch with my governor. I do the things that any responsible citizen does. I watch news. I don't watch, I watch the event. I don't watch the talking heads. If there's a press conference, I don't want to know what the talking heads talk about. I want to know what the guy actually said. So I watch it absolutely from start to finish so that I'm informed and I don't have to rely on somebody else's opinion. I can rely on my own. And that is, and so that is how I feel about it. And so obviously, as things have escalated, first with the ever increasing tensions of the COVID-19, we also, of course, threw in on top of that this election, and now all the games, and I don't. I mean, there are days when I'm pretty sure I can't survive it, and then I don't want to. That's what scares me more than anything else. I don't want to. If this is how it's going to be, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here to see it happen. And so I sleep because it's the only thing I can do. But this I make myself do because this is real to me. Being here for you guys, worrying about you guys. Anyway, I need to stop because otherwise I'll be a mess. So, when will you get a new book from me? When I'm able to draw again. In the meantime, I'm hoping that the however many it is, the 10 books that I have out will suffice for a while. But and those were basically drawn in self-defense, or over, creating something pretty in a world that was growing uglier and uglier and uglier as the days were going by. But I got somewhere along the line, I got overwhelmed, and it's, I mean, yes, I recognize the excuses in there. I do, and trust me, I'm not happy with them. Buck up, Christine. Get your act together. Everybody's in the same boat. All of that, but you can say that academically, but anybody who suffers from a depression for any reason, knows that it's not that easy. If it were only that easy to just say, this too shall pass. It will. I know it will. It can't last because the days keep going by. The victories keep happening as far as, as hopefully being able to end at least the at least the constant, maybe that's what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid that even with the election, that even with that the constant I don't want to call it, well, I do want to call it dumbing down. The dumbing down isn't going to stop. And it just, I think you can't force people to be any way. You can't make people abandon beliefs and I mean, I think everybody should have things to believe in, but I also think that if it doesn't if it doesn't bring, why do we only see the ugly? Why do we only see the ugly and we can't see the good? Why do we only see the ugly? Why is our go-to position suspicion? Why is our go-to position snark? And and I don't get it. People see something that's different than them and they just freak out about how, it's bad. No, it's not bad. It's just different. Different cultures, different different food, different colors, different different worship, different. It's just, yes, Amber, exactly. It's about respect. What happened to the respect? What happened to what happened to never judge a book by its cover? Oh my gosh. Speaking of which, oh, let me tell you what. If Britain, you did a really good thing with Jonathan Antoine. Oh my gosh, that's another channel that I discovered, or another guy that I watched. That was a Britain's Got Talent uh, recommended video. The the um, the initial audition, and then I mean, I kind of admit that I was right there with all those people going, that guy, he needs some help, uh, because he's pretty sloppy and all of that, and then I heard him sing, and it was like, oh my God blessed him, and he is only 17. He is going to be one of the greatest tenors in the world. He is just amazing. Oh, I've listened to his video, or his, because I've only seen him here on YouTube. But he's just, of course, now it's what, 5, 7, 8 years down the road, because he auditioned in 2012. So at what, he was 17, so 8 years, he's 25 now. He's absolutely the most down to earth, uh, kind human being, and he sings like a god. He's just amazing. I am a huge fan of opera and a huge fan of tenor opera, and so Pavarotti, Placido Domingo. I didn't like the other guy, the or the Andreas Bocelli. Bocelli has a very thin voice to my ear. Uh, the best voice to my ear has always been of the last generation was Placido Domingo. But I think that Jonathan Antoine is even better. And that is just amazing. That is just amazing. Uh, so anyway, so I've been watching a lot of Jonathan Antoine as well. I have been looking for inspiration, of course, and I hope to uh, be drawing again very soon. I really do. Uh, some somewhere along the lines of January 20th. I just want to be sure. Uh, I really do. Uh, because every time you think you're in safe ground, some whack-a-mole like pops up, does something stupid. Now this Texas joker with his calling, for succession from the union, and it just it's like he needs a pardon really bad, apparently, for that trouble he's gotten himself into. I don't know. See, now aren't you glad you asked? And I don't hold people responsible. I'll tell you who I hold responsible are these. Well, no, that's not true. I'm not gonna. No, that's not true. That's not true. I am having an increasingly difficult time interacting with any of the friends that I have who might enjoy the current guy, because quite frankly, I just can't go there. I don't think they're bad people. Think that they're I think that they've allowed themselves to be guided by it's like you're like if your teenage son is or daughter is has friends that are leading them in the wrong direction. You want to fight for them, and you want to tell them, but you can't say, you know well, I guess you can, but you run the risk of losing their friendship, and in my case, losing their business, and then I have to have the conversation with myself about integrity, and if you're willing to sacrifice your beliefs, and give them ground for you know for the sake of a dollar, that's probably not the best reasoning in the world. And so I have those conversations with myself. My friend Sue is an avid Trump supporter. uh, I wish I could tell you that it has not affected me, or our relationship, but I can't. uh, I can't say that. I I can't say that, and I feel bad about that. I really do, but not bad enough to. I just hope that we can all, and then eventually there's some sort of a uh, uh, coming to grips with all of it, for the nation. So. We do that, and Kathy, that is exactly what we've done. But it sits there on the surface. Now, the irony, of course, uh, is that she actually likes the guy who actually won. and is kind of secretly glad he did win, but mostly because she wants to really, I mean, it's about stopping the chaos at this particular point in time. So, and so that is, and to that end, I think that 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 the guy who actually won is in fact, the better choice. Uh, but we also have to acknowledge that there are reasons why this happened, and they're valid. There are valid reasons. We do let the coasts and the liberal thinking on the coasts uh, influence the way that laws are made that affect other parts of the country that may not be so well traveled, so international, so exposed to cultures and people and uh, influences that are not central to to the central United States. So I mean, I get all you have to do is look at the demographics of where Republicans and Democrats and their states are to understand what's going on. And the difference between conservative, but in this particular case, it's the definition of conservative that I have a difficulty with, because it seems to be sort of bent on not recognizing the validity of other people's rights to exist, or to have the same rights and freedoms as every other person. So that is where, I mean, I get the business part of it, and there were many of the policies that have been put into place by both kinds of administrations that I've objected to from a business standpoint. You could see them coming, that they weren't going to be a good idea. And you saw the result by what happened to jobs and all of this. But on the other hand, the other people need to, I mean, you have to own that to a certain extent, we've done this to ourselves. It's not that we allowed government to regulate us. We are the government. We are, it is of the people, by the people, for the people. What happened is that we all stopped paying attention, started electing people, and say, here, you go do what we want you to do. But we weren't really watching. We weren't really engaged. We weren't really participating. We would vote based on television commercials. We wouldn't vote because we knew how our representatives were voting. We voted based upon personality and looks, and whether or not they had a winning way. We didn't vote on knowing the person that we were actually voting for. And you can't run a democracy that way. You have to be engaged. You have to participate. You have to pay attention. It's the greatest privilege in the world to be self-governed. And we are self-governed, but does that mean everybody gets their own way? No, it doesn't. The majority rules. But we have to pay attention to our representatives, whether it's city, state, federal, it doesn't matter. You got to know your city Congress, or your city, you got to know your city councilman, know your county commissioner, know what they're doing, know how they're voting. They're voting every time. Pay attention. Go to the meetings. If you got a dog in the show, go. Watch him perform. because you need to do that. You do not want to hear me preach this stuff. Now, come on. But why not? As long as I've got you all here. I'm also adding just the tiniest bit of, this, just, and some of these areas, just to warm it up just a little bit. So anyway, but once again, you really don't want to get me started because I just believe in personal responsibility. You've heard me say I'm political. What does that mean? It means I've been paying attention. I have been, as much as I would so much rather be doing something else. I actually listen to what these guys say. I watch hearings. I hope that other people do too. I mean, PBS broadcasts them in real time. But the thing about it is that what is a liberal? That's what nobody wants to define. I mean, what is a liberal? I'm not a liberal. I don't believe in what they do. What is it that they do? What they don't believe that gay people shouldn't be allowed to get married. That's pretty liberal. Or they believe in equal work for equal pay. That's pretty liberal. I guess I just don't understand what it is that, Carrie, that liberals do, and that, they can't imagine. Anyway, hi, CB. I guess I just don't get it because I've never, there is. This is the thing that liberals are not communists, and they're not socialists, and they're not any of those things. Liberals believe that black people should have the right to vote. Liberalists believe that, liberals believe that gay people should be allowed to be married. That the immigration policies should make common sense. The people who are being persecuted should receive safe harbor, because that's just being a good human being. So anyway, don't confuse liberals with with these Antifa jokers and all of that, because those aren't liberals. Those are Trumpians of the worst kind. But no, you don't want to. No, we won't go down that particular road. But they're what you call the sowing dissent from the inside. So you could literally work. Oh, sorry, am I up there on camera? You could literally work on this forever with your pencils and just keep enhancing it. These are the brand that I'm using right now are the Deli pencils. I love these pencils. They're kind of a knockoff of a Polychromos, but I love them for a budget pencil. They are really, really one of the best. CB, Connie, you're doing your best. Okay. And okay, so well, all right, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. Yes. They believe in they believe that a woman has the right to govern her own body. Yes. They do believe that. And apparently conservatives do not. So yeah, the one guy put, there's room in the room for the doctor, the woman, and not probably the U.S. government. So, although I do have to tell you that not all liberals believe that. They just simply they may not believe in abortion. They simply believe that it is a woman's right to govern her own body. That's all. And to choose to become a parent instead of having it thrust upon them. It can't possibly be that black and white. Yeah, it really can. It really can. That's it, and that's all that Roe v. Wade did, is it said that 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 a woman has the right to govern her own body. That's it. That's it. And then later on, they added a particular amendment that talked about, the three, the first trimester and the second and the third, and all of that. But yeah, the original decision just simply said that a woman has the right to govern her own body. Period. All right, I need to do this part with the intents down here, but and the reason I know that, Kathy, is because I went back and read the law about 15 days ago, just because I wanted to make sure that I was right. So yeah, it's I mean the transcript is, or the decision is online. So as is everything. It's all, if you want to know about any court case or anything like that, it's all in the archives. It's all matter of public record. I was gonna say you'd find you'd be hard pressed to find a liberal who's in favor of killing anybody. Quite sure how we got on that topic, but okay. Beside which, I know plenty of conservatives who also are in favor of a right to choose. Okay, Kim. I'm sorry that you don't feel good. I hope you feel better. And yeah, I definitely have days like that. I have most of them these days. But I did, one of the things that I did do, which always helps, is I went out today and stood in the sunshine for a little while, and just just chilled, drank a cup of tea, and just sort of stood there with the sun on my face. It felt so good. The temperatures are about 66 degrees, which is pretty warm considering how cold it's been. And wine helps. Yeah, I agree. Wine absolutely helps. Well, no, actually, I can't really. When I get like this, I don't. Well, and the other thing that I did do today is I have a particular friend who who has been espousing some untruths about election fraud and stuff like that. So I was actually able to take that on and wrote him a a response that was filled with nothing but verifiable facts, and so that made me feel better. I even included a link. So it always makes me feel better. And a scolding that said, I've known you for 40 years. I had no idea that you actually thought stuff like this. I did have an idea, but he's actually the husband of one of my very dearest friends. And of course, she only agrees with him because it's, the best way to maintain marital bliss is to just say, yes, dear. But don't worry about her because there are plenty of times when she says, no, dear. She just picks and chooses the right battle. Okay, so it doesn't look like, but it's, to me, it's, does it look that way to you guys? Does it look like it's more, like it's richer, like it's more, it's more enhanced. That's the word I'm looking for is enhanced. Uh, and not quite as dull and flat as it was when we started, because that is, once again, that is sort of the danger of the inktints, is that it can get very dull and flat. You don't have to bump it up, but I like to do it because I don't know, it just makes me like it better. Makes me feel like it's more finished. Now, when I talked about this particular thing, and like I say, I want to do most of this. But what do you, and put this in your heads, and then think about it and tell me what you think or can see. But what do you think about like a bubblegum pink sparkly type background around here? Uh, yeah, okay, good. That's what I was aiming for. And I hope that I did. Let me see if I can. Let's try autofocus. There we go. Okay. I hope I gave it a little more depth and definition. And 12 degrees Fahrenheit, low to, wait, supposed to go down to like, okay, on Tuesday. Oh, that is so cold. But there will be bounce back. Okay. It is Did you guys have a warm fall? Is that we had? I cannot believe the temperature right now outside. I really can't because it's been in the 40s for like 3 days running, and then today it's like 60 something degrees outside, and it was just so nice to stand out there and not freeze. Because I try and get out a little bit. I try and get sunshine, uh, and all of that kind of good stuff. And okay, so, but I don't know about the bubble gum being sparkly. I could end up just going with maybe sort of, I don't know. All right. I keep turning up my tea and it's not getting hotter. I don't know why. It's not cooling down, but it's not getting hotter. Now it's at 182. Let's go with 184. Did I mention I like my coffee hot? Okay. All right, so now, if you are new to watching what is going on here, or you particularly would like to see it again, thank you, Carrie. And thank you, by the way, honey, for sticking around. Because, you know, a lot of people would say, oh, here's somebody who disagrees with me, and, you know, and then take a walk. And I'm glad that we're better than that. So thank you for restoring my hope. And I appreciate that a lot. All right, so now what I want is my Ionian green and my beach green and my, let's see if I can remember from last time what we used. That's the iron green. There's the Ionian green. I love to say that. I love to say that word. So I had the, what? I had, oh, and then I had the apple green, didn't I? That's the spring green. Yeah, the spring green will probably work. Okay. So now my leaves that are here, oops. Here. And let's see if we can fix the focus. Ooh, that's so much nicer. Look at that. 22 degrees Fahrenheit now. At 7 a.m., they expect it to be a whopping 1 degree Fahrenheit. Yowza! I am so sorry. Mona, Christine, here it got up to 48, which is unusual for northern upstate New York. Very unusual. No kidding. Wow. Okay. Now you are up there. Okay, northern. I'm trying to remember. Is it Connecticut that's right above you? I know Pennsylvania is off to one side. I'm trying to think of all the states that you know that, but northern. You've got the. Is it Lake Erie or I? I'm not being very good, am I? at my United States geography. Eek. I don't remember what because I know that you've got some Great Lakes up there, right? that are on one of your borders. Doesn't New York border one of the Great Lakes? I do believe she is in the great state of, oh, I want to say Montana, but I know it's not. It's Michigan, no, Wisconsin. I'll bet it's Wisconsin. Although I'm going to let her answer. Minnesota. Damn. I was wrong all the way around. Yes, unfortunately, I am one of those Americans that if you put a map in your hand, I can tell you vaguely where stuff is. But like I know I know where most of the states are. How about that? All right. Connie. Oh no, not Connie. Actually Heather. Heather, I am going to, oh no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to use the M&R and, let's see, the M&R and, no, I can't do it. This also is Inktense, but it is in palette form. But I wanted to try and show you guys. Oh, here. Yes. Okay. All right. So this is the. I'll show you. You know, I hate to. I just really, and I don't like to use the word hate at all, ever. I'll just show you what I do. All right. When I am, okay, so this is my M&R, right? All right, so I want to sharpen it just a little bit. Okay. So now I've got a sharp pencil, which I'm going to set aside over there. And I'm going to take this, which is the little wooden shaving, and I'm going to like grab it off of this, and there it is. Okay. And now I'm going to take my water brush. Right. Pick a nice clean spot or white spot. Put a little drop of water. Right. Now this is because this is pure ink pigment, right? So look at how much color you get just from that little tiny. Yes, I saw that. Oh, you got one in your scrawler box. I love the scrawler boxes. I really do. I wish that you know, that's one of those things that's kind of on my list for you know, when I have a regular income I can count on, and then I can, you know, be free to make and do and all kinds of other stuff without stress. So that's okay. Closest to Lake Ontario. Okay, that's what. Okay. I did not, and I love that because, you know, I love my graphitins. Okay, so now that makes a beautiful, rich color as well. Which you can use. Now, the problem, of course, is that it's a very intense color. And I don't know. Oh, yes. Okay, see so how it lays down so that you can, in fact, because it's those little chunks, it stays workable for a long time. Now, this is me being frugal. Now, you do not need to be frugal. These pencils will last you a lifetime without this particular little step. But it's good to know that it does this because Inktense is a very expensive product, as you know, as far as coloring supplies go. And so I figure that if you can stretch, excuse me, if you can stretch a buck, that's a good thing. I think like a lot of you guys at this point in time, most all of us, we can stretch a buck with the best of them. Okay, so there you can add some of that, and then see that's the beach. This is the beach green down here. Little spring green right there. Fade those colors into one another. Excuse me. That needs to be a little bit darker down in there. We've covered a whole lot of ground today, haven't we? I hope that there are, that people can understand that not every, I guess we all have our own. I don't have any issue at all with the fact that we all have different beliefs, but I do have issue when we simply believe lies. That that is where I sort of draw the line at my tolerance, and for because it's just not true. It's just not true. I promise it's not true. One of the things that I did do, just so you guys, just for your own edification, is the minute that we sort of knew that Georgia was going to be the center of the end of the count, I watched every news conference. I listened to every news conference from start to finish. They were all broadcast live. Especially those from Gabe Sterling, who was the guy in charge of the count. And so, or who's the guy in charge of the Board of Elections there. And incidentally, the only one who has actually, used his voice to say, hey, everybody, enough is enough. But and he, of course, is a Trump supporter, voted for him. So, and he said, I'm sorry, Mr. President, but you have lost the state of Georgia. If it could be different, I would make it so, but it's not. But at any rate, so all of those supposed, claims that, that they wanted the court to look at for merit, had already been proven to have no merit. And that is, that's one of the many reasons why, of course, the attorneys or the judges have been throwing out these cases. So, is because they've all been determined to not have, there is no merit. There is nobody standing with the, with these supposed affidavits, nobody willing to, to actually go into court and say that this is what they saw. They were fine doing it when asked over the internet to sign, electronically sign an affidavit that they didn't actually sign with a signature. They signed it with an unscramble the numbers kind of thing to verify that they were a human, but there was no under penalty of perjury. But when you go into court and make a statement like that, it is under penalty of perjury. But nonetheless, each and every one of those allegations was investigated by the Board of Governors. or the Board of Elections, and found to be wanting. So just tossing that out there for anybody, and that's true of all of the states in which these allegations were being made. Okay, now, all right, so that enhanced that just a little bit, and I like that. I like that darker side. I think it adds even more. And really, one of the things that whoops, sorry about that. I just want to show you that you can just really keep working on an area, even with Inktense on paper, which is a water medium. The trick, of course, is to just keep letting it dry between your layers. And it just builds these beautiful, rich colors and adds that extra hint of good shading, which add dimension to your fruit, so that when you stand back, hey, once again, if you want to just color it without worrying about all the falderall and the fancy stuff, then there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, Jane shows you how not wrong it is, right there on the front. Look at how beautiful that picture is. And it's not all colored in and all, fancied out and all duded up and all of that. It's a very simple coloring, well done. Love the background, the purple background, all of that. Love the fact it looks like they used a tritone here on the Christmas tree with the greens and the light blues. You wouldn't think about putting turquoise blue in a tree, but look how beautifully that works out. So look for your inspirations, all sorts of different places, and know that every single coloring of every single picture is going to be different depending upon who's doing it. Don't try to be like somebody else. Be like you. And it's always, always, always going to work out. And if you like to be frugal with look at how much is here, right? I am barely touching it. There is more than enough in that little tiny bit of peeling from sharpening that pencil to do this entire picture, the dark green in this entire picture. Sorry. Okay, so that's now wet. So I don't want to, I'm going to work over here for a bit. Because that's all wet. All right, and I need to start putting my other colors in first. Because now I'm at a point where I am not remembering what they are or where they are. There's the beach. That's what I want. Okay. Whoops, am I off? Sorry. I apologize. Whoops. Oh, the cat is knocking things off the kitchen counter. How exciting. I can hear him. hitting the floor. I'm like, oh, yeah. Coriander, by the way, is doing just absolutely fine. She is just my sweet, silly girl. She sits up here at night because I have a tendency to eat at my desk because it's just easier. And so she'll sit up here, and it depended upon whether or not it's something that I can actually give her a few bites of. I'll if it's hot, I have to wait for it to cool down a little. So, but she's got her own little plate up here on the desk. I do it to myself, I swear. And then I can't get mad at her for, always showing up. That's it. I want the Ionian in a green because that's it. All right. Now we've got it. All right. So there's the beach. Let's see. Okay, I want that to be the dark right there. So this. So I'm just sort of going over that a little bit. A little bit of that out there. Okay. So now I can grab this. Put the dark in where that leaf is folded over, right? Don't be afraid to tapping off here on the little paper towel. And then you can just work your lighter color down to your darker color. So you're preserving your light a little bit. And okay, and then now this can be a lighter because this is where it's folding over, right? The outside. So I just, Gary, I just cannot stand to let, to let Inktense shavings go. I want to use them. And oh, good. I'm glad I'm not alone, Melinda. And it just, once again, it's that frugal side of me that will turn that'll turn the perfect plastic toilet thing end cap thing into a temporary when I was making applesauce and I needed a funnel. I didn't have a funnel, and so it was just the perfect funnel because recycle, reuse, right? It's perfectly good pigment. Why would you throw it in the trash? That just makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. Okay. Once again, it's the frugal. Now, I wasn't always frugal. Trust me. There was a time when I was not. I was, it would be like, but then I took a, look around at, actually what happened was I moved to Virginia where I had a beach close by, and I went out and I looked and I was just shocked by the amount of trash that, that can wash up on the shore. And I thought, this is not good. This is not good. We can do something better than this. And so that's when I started to actively look for ways to reuse. Like I reuse my kitty litter buckets always. I mean, I've got 5-gallon buckets for everything. I've got them for water. I keep the lids, and whenever we have a storm that blows through, and we have to, they tell you to save water, because if the water if the water treatment plant gets overwhelmed with water or with ocean water, you'll need fresh drinking water. And so, I'll run around filling up all these buckets before every hurricane, and that kind of thing. They also incidentally make great planters outside, because unless they get to 140-degree internal temperature, there isn't, they're perfectly safe for things like veggies and all of that. Well, not that I grow any. I didn't grow any this year. I was too busy watching farm channels to grow any of my own food, which was silly. And now I want the beach. Shouldn't have done that. Okay. Should have been out there growing food. Okay. All right, so all right. Let me do this. Let's do this part of the tree. Now, what this is, by the way, is just an underlayment of the green. And the way that we make this tree is by starting over here, just like this, with this light green. I believe that here I used the apple green. And just not a lot of it. Oh no. Whatever that was a rather large stack of something. You should see, after every show, I have to go inspect the damage. I have learned to take all of the breakable stuff off, off of. So when she knocks stuff off, it's almost always the the easily picked up off the floor and put back on the counter. For ice melt, there you go, exactly. So that'll work. Sand. Oh my goodness, when it's time to, you've got to fill bags, and I use them. I fill them with sand and then build a wall. I don't live in any place that's got flooding right now, but I have used them that way before. But I mean, it's certainly, of course, the number one problem here in Hampton Roads is the flooding. But I'm not in a flood area, not in an area where I get floods. Thank goodness. Okay, so I'm just going to add a little of the lighter green apple out there, just along the edges. Then a little bit of the beach green along there, along the outside of that one, maybe there. And then everything else will be the dark Ionian green. Sort of lay the color down, tap off, and then tap off again. Come back, and you can tell I'm just sort of trying to brush it back now. Sometimes you can't see exactly how it's going to go until it's dry, but I kind of know. Now, one thing also about using the Inktense shavings is that it is a much more intense concentration of pigment. So if you want to get maybe a lighter green or a pastel, you need to add the water here, not, try and spread it out over here, because Inktense will only go so far before it gives up on you. And so you have to, if you want a lighter green, you would spread it here. So just something to keep in mind. Let's take a little bit of this is the Ionian green, or no, this is the beach green, sorry. And this leaf right here would be darker because it's behind this leaf. So now I'm going to take this, and the darker areas are going to carve out this leaf that's on top. Okay, now I'm going to tap off and go with that. Okay. So that sort of sticks it back there with a little shadow in it. At least I hope so. Yeah, I'm liking it. I am liking it a lot. Okay. Now I know I'd said that. Okay. So now the next step in this, if I remember correctly, is the tan. Is that right? Yeah, I think it is. That's the mustard. That's the tan. Okay. So I think that's dry enough. Could be wrong. All right, so then what I did is I went through with the tan and added that in the darkest or the darkest places, right? Pressing about medium, you can see how dull that pencil is. I don't want to do enough of this tree right now to warrant trying to sharpen it and use the shavings. So I'll save that. I'll save that for later. But in the meantime, I'll just add a little color there. And along the actual edges. Okay. So what that'll do, hopefully, if you sort of stick to the edge and leave that green center, mostly alone. I am going to go over it, but not until I've got the more intense color down, right? So I want the intensity there. Then I can sort of join very lightly any of these other areas if they're too green, and that gives it that little bit of a green glow. And it's a building project. So you're building your colors up layer by layer, and that's true in any. I mean, you watch Sammy do that. She is a master at doing that in colored pencils, building up your colors layer by layer until you finally get what it is that you want, and just working at it a little bit at a time and trying not to get frustrated with it. Remember, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon to a beautiful finish, and that's what you want. That's what I want. That's what I would like you to have if that is the way that you like to color. Now, I do say that I am learning all of this right along with you, because a lot of what I do here is trial and error. So, and I, we go along the journey, and we know, we find out the things that work and the things that don't, and hopefully you enjoy that every week, and we'll come back again. But when you come back, it'll have to be either to if I get really ambitious, which is entirely within the realm of possible, I might actually put out a midweek video. Otherwise, you can count on the idea that I will be here next Sunday. And hopefully, thank you to everybody who seriously this week. I mean, I realize that I talked about some things that are important to me, but may not be important to others, and or that or that you may disagree with. And I thank you all for understanding. I don't ask that you agree with me, but I thank you for not leaving. How about that? And I'm glad that you stayed. So until we meet again. Whoops. Hang on. Let me at least get the proper focus. There we go. Until we meet again, everybody, please, please, please buy my books. And this is just one of them, and there are lots and lots of them. Buy Sue's books. Buy Jane's books. And what? And what? Color something pretty. Until we meet again, everybody. Bye. Thank you all. Everyone. Melinda, thank you for coming. Kim, if you're still watching, I know, honey, that you went to lay down, but I didn't know if you were still watching. Rain, thank you for being here. Thank you to Louise, to all of the regulars, to Jill, Lulu, Kathy, and Carrie, and Mona, and all of everybody, Barbara, Dee Dee. I'm just looking up the list. Wanted to actually get this week in to actually say a few personal goodbyes. Until we meet again, everybody. Color something pretty. Bye-bye.